Have you had a good start to the year?
I have so far. I've been working most of it, but I had a good New Year's. I did manage to stay up to midnight.
Well done.
Did you?
Should I say well done? Yes, I actually did. Regret it.
Yeah.
Really tired the next couple of days, but not feeling too bad now. Although last night I did get woken up about 4 o'clock in the morning. My 3-year-old was calling me, and I went in and I was like, "What's up, buddy?" And he said, "Oh, it didn't snow at Christmas." And I was like,
he's only just realised.
he's a week late. And I was like, "No, it didn't snow at Christmas. It doesn't often properly snow at Christmas here." And he was like, "I really wanted snow at Christmas." And I was like, "Oh, well." And then he was like, "When's it going to snow next?" And I was like, "Well, here, not really anytime soon. We're here in Exeter.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the boundary between that. As it hits the cold air, I'll come on to that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's a bit disappointed that we're not going to get much snow here. However, other parts of the UK are going to get some.
Did you go into meteorologist mode and give him a full description as to why we're not going to get snow, or did you just send him straight off back to bed?
I'd have loved to have, but at 4 in the morning, I just wanted to go to sleep.
I think that's fair.
So I stroked his head and said, "Off you go, buddy."
Told him to stay tuned for your studio live, and then he'll get all the answers.
Yeah. So he's watching now, and he's not watching now, but he might be watching later, and then he'll be able to understand why we're not going to get as much snow as other parts of the country.
Yes, already we've had so many questions from you guys about the snow. Obviously the warnings, I think they were issued New Year's Day, the initial snow warning, wasn't it? And then this morning we've had amber warnings issued, so already loads of questions already. Luke Kirby, for example, any snow in London? Zach Ty, any snow in Middlesbrough? Also Jay Sim, why isn't it going to snow in Norfolk? So people want to know, Alex, where's the snow going to be this weekend?
Well, lots of places. I'm going to go over to the screen at this point to have a look and show you some things that are going on. So first of all, here are some of the warnings that we have out at the moment. I will go through these in a little bit more detail, but I did want to go through the weather that we can expect through the next, 2-3 days or so. So if I just start back, I've got the wrong setting on, so let's turn that off. So if we just go back, why is this not working? Here we go. So if we go through the rest of today, and actually some decent clear skies through this evening and through the night. I've purposely left the cloud off at the moment because it makes it easier for us to see the snow when that's going to come. But if I just hit play, and yes, some clear skies, yes, there are some wintry showers. Ice is going to be quite an issue tonight. Also some fog, some freezing fog patches. So that's the type of thing that we need to watch out for, and a harsh frost. Then if I just pause it here at about 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and a couple of things. Whilst much of the country staying largely fine into the afternoon, across the southwest, we have some heavy rain, and that's pushing its way in. Also some stronger winds. Worth bearing in mind, if I just put the temperature layer on, that we have some very cold air across the UK at the moment, and it's as this wet weather bashes into this cold air that we're going to see some snow. Now I mentioned that here in the southwest we're not going to see a huge amount, particularly where we are in Exeter, and that's because, it's mostly rain at this point. It's on the northern edge of this system as it bashes into the cold air across us, that we're going to see the snow. So if I just turn that off for a second, and if I run this through, and you can see as this system makes its way northeastwards across the UK, across parts of England and Wales, we are going to see some significant snow building up, particularly across parts of Wales, central England, and then later on into parts of northern England as we go through later on into Sunday. Now that snow risk, as well as snow risk, is also going to bring some freezing rain, and you may know that freezing rain often leads to some really treacherous icy conditions. So particularly across parts of Wales, central England, there's a significant risk of some ice as well as the snow. All of this then pushes a little bit further northwards before it starts to clear away towards the east. So we see rain really across more southern parts, but snow across more northern parts or parts of this wet weather. It's in the north of this area of wet weather that we're likely to see some snow. Now there is some uncertainty about exactly how far north this is going to get, and so exactly where we see the most disruptive snow. But nonetheless, we have issued some warnings, and I'll go through the details of those in a second. Otherwise then, as we continue through Sunday, then there are a couple of things to bear in mind. So more heavy snow continuing across northern England, North Wales, perhaps into the borders area as well. And then we are sort of seeing this system wrapping round over the top. So whilst across England and Wales we see a lot of it clearing away and turning dry and we say goodbye to the snow, across Scotland we actually have some winteriness, some sleet, some snow showers peeling their way in, and so we're again going to see some issues in association with that as we go through the end of the weekend and into the beginning of next week. But like I said, we do have a number of warnings out at the moment, and so I'll just try and show you those right now. So if I get those up, and here we go. If we go to I've gone too far forward. So first of all, we do have an ice warning for parts of, well, much of Scotland, into Northern Ireland, into parts of North West England and North Wales, and that's for this evening and overnight because of the clear skies, the wintry showers. Even if you don't see the wintry showers, where the ground is wet and saturated, we could see some pretty treacherous icy conditions first thing tomorrow. But the bigger talking point are the snow and ice warnings that we have coming through as we go through Saturday. So if I just play this along a little bit. And as we head towards midday, that's when we have our first snow and ice warning becoming valid. So you can see it covers much of England and all of Wales. And this is a yellow snow, I think it's snow and ice warning for such a wide area, and it runs all the way through midday on Saturday until the end of the day on Sunday. And this talks of the potential for some disruption. It also talks of the mention of that freezing rain, so bringing those icy patches as well as some significant snow. Now I've already shown you the graphics, but if I just put them on the rainfall, and if we just put it over the top, you can see within this warning area, just to go back and get rid of it, you see it's mainly across parts of central northern England and Wales that we're going to see the snow. But worth bearing in mind, I think someone asked about Norfolk, that there is a risk of some snow further east. It won't perhaps be quite as disruptive, but parts of Norfolk are within that warning area. London, a little bit less likely to see something, but nonetheless it's not out of the question. We are likely to see some snow coming through, but I think that will be more so Saturday night into Sunday. And the thing to bear in mind with places like London and to the south, even if you do see any sleet or snow, then it's going to quite quickly be followed by some rain, so it's likely to get washed away and so less likely to be impactful. With that in mind then, if I go back to our warnings and our areas, and we do have 2 amber warnings that have been issued. We have a snow and ice amber warning area across parts of Wales into more central, just about into northern parts of England, and that talks of the potential for up to 30 centimetres of snow. But with that freezing rain risk, it's also the icy patches that are going to cause some very difficult conditions, and that's valid from 6 p.m. on Saturday until...
That one, 6 p.m. until midday on Sunday.
6 p.m. until midday on Sunday. So a lot of that coming, the worst of it really coming through overnight, Saturday night into Sunday, and then starting to improve. But if you're up on Sunday morning, could be some really difficult conditions out there. Like I said before, a lot of travel this weekend because of the post-Christmas, post-New Year festivities and activities. So lots of people trying to return home. And then we have a second amber warning across northern parts of England. And this one is valid slightly later. It's valid from 9 p.m. on Saturday until...
midnight.
Until midnight. So it's valid until the same end time as the bigger yellow snow and ice warning. And this one has slightly higher snowfall totals. It talks of the potential of up to 40 centimetres over the high ground of the north. Now, not everywhere within these warning areas will see anywhere near that amount of snow. Most places will see significantly less, but lots of places within these warning areas have a fairly high likelihood of seeing several centimetres of snow, and that is enough to cause some significant disruption. And it's within these amber areas where, particularly over high ground, where we could see the even higher totals or higher depths, and that's when we're likely to see even greater disruption. So even if you're not within the amber areas, if you're within the yellow area, do be aware there could be some disruption, but particularly if you're in those amber areas with those timings that I just said, then it is worth bearing in mind that there's likely to be some significant snow around as we go through this weekend. Just starting ahead, and I already mentioned Scotland briefly, but because of the wintry weather that's then going to come in, returning through from the east as we go through latter parts of Sunday and into Monday, we have another, I think that's snow and ice warning across parts of Scotland as we go into the beginning of next week as well. So once we say goodbye to the rest of it elsewhere, we continue with some wintriness to start the week across those parts. So a lot of wintry, wet, snowy weather around. I just want to highlight again before I go on to the questions that there is still a fair amount of uncertainty. Let's get rid of the warning area. So this boundary there is still a bit of uncertainty as to how far north and south it is. Now, this is the Met Office model. It has actually been slightly modified, this Met Office model. So, in case you weren't aware, here at the Met Office we have a computer model which gives us a good steer of what the weather's going to do. However, our meteorologists here are able to tweak the output a little bit if we think that it hasn't quite got the rain, the snow in quite the right place. And in this instance, the Met Office model looks like it's got everything just that little bit too far south. And comparing it to the European model, so ECMWF, and comparing with what's actually already happening, we're then able to make these slight alterations. So we've edged the worst of the snow just that little bit further north. Still the potential that it could be a bit further south, so still a little bit to play for, which is why that yellow warning is much bigger, because even within that yellow warning, you have a chance of seeing some significant snow, but it's with those amber warnings that the chance of seeing some disruption, the greater impacts, is much higher.
Yeah, exactly. So lots of weather going on. Well done, Alex. By the way, guys, apparently you guys couldn't hear us at the beginning of this video, so apologies for that. Hopefully you still caught Alex's story, because that was quite a good one. So yeah, apologies for that. Obviously, loads of questions about snow. People specifically want to know where they are, if there's going to be any snow. So for example, Em's going on a trip, has asked any accumulations in Manchester, and Manchester's just actually on that boundary between the snow and ice warning and also the secondary snow warning just above it. And this snow warning, you know, we're expecting, it gives us in the warning details 3 to 7 centimetres of snow. Anything above 150 metres likely to see between 15 to 30 centimetres, 40 centimetres possibly over 300 metres. And Manchester, yeah, you're right in the middle of those boundaries between both warnings. So yeah, likely seeing some snow in Manchester, particularly as we head into Sunday. Other questions, let's take a look. Oh, Ryan Salazar is asking what happens after this event. Is it going to stay cold? Is it going to get any milder? It's generally staying cold, isn't it?
It's definitely staying cold. I'll talk about that a bit more in a second. The one thing that before I dart away from this current weekend that I did want to cover are actually our wind speeds, because factored in within the fact that we do have some strong or heavy snow is also the fact that we have some significant winds to come as we go through this week as well, or this weekend as well. So they're not ridiculously strong, but they are going to be fairly strong at times. And so it's just worth bearing in mind with the wintry weather. This is just an idea of gusts. I've not picked the best place. Let's try and find somewhere a little bit more exposed. It's not coming up especially strong, but it's just worth bearing in mind that it is going to be windy at times as well as wintry. Close to blizzards, I guess, over the highest peaks, over the highest ground. Let's try and find somewhere a little bit windier. It's not working, I'm getting less windy. But yeah, close to blizzards in some places, so pretty difficult conditions, as well as the fact with the sleet and snow. Worth bearing in mind, if you do get those strong winds, the blowing snow really reduces visibility. That's when we can have some of the most dangerous driving conditions if you're heading out. But the question was, what's going to happen thereafter? So let's go look at the bigger picture. Let's get rid of the jet stream for now, and I will put the rain on just so we can keep an eye on what's happening. I'm just going to press play. So let's just look at the bigger picture currently as we go through this weekend. Now, it's actually quite interesting so this is the low that's causing the problems as we go through this weekend, and this is the surface pressure pattern. But if we were looking upper air, you can kind of see it. There's actually an upper trough digging down just to the west or just to the east of the US. And it's actually the influence of this trough that's causing us the headaches in terms of the uncertainty with what's happening across the UK this weekend, because the deeper this trough goes determines how far north this low is then going to shoot up. Like I said, the Met Office model's good. We're slightly favouring the ECMWF model. But nonetheless, this is raw Met Office model data that I have behind me now. And you can see it pushes its way northeastwards, this low pressure, and it brings this unsettled weather, the rain, the snow particularly, and the freezing rain and the ice across parts. I will come on to the freezing rain in a second, actually. Then all of this continues through many places, for many places as we go through this weekend, but then it does eventually clear away. Like I said, we have something returning across parts of Scotland as we go through latter parts of Sunday into Monday, but otherwise we see things improving in terms of turning dry. If I just dart on a little bit further forwards, And then with that low towards the east of us, and remember your winds go round in an anti-clockwise direction around your low pressure, it's no surprise that as that low drifts away towards the east, look where our winds are coming from. They're coming from the north. And so things are going to stay cold. If I get rid of our rain and our winds and just put our temperature layer on instead, cold Arctic air still across the UK. It really is going to be pretty cold as we go through next week. So really, actually, some of us will see a slight blip towards the south. If I just dart back, go to midday Sunday, and with this system coming across the UK, we have something a little bit milder entrained within it, particularly towards the southern side of the system as we go through this weekend. So some southern areas actually seeing a slight rise in our temperatures, albeit with the wet, the windy, and on the northern edge, wintry weather mixed in with it. But then, quite quickly, it's really just a short-lived little peak in our temperatures before the cold air returns. And it looks like that cold air is going to stick with us for quite a while. I will be updating the 14-day outlook video on our app later on this evening. And in that, I am going to be talking about the fact that it is likely to stay pretty cold. Actually quite settled. High pressure Scandinavian high looks like it's going to dominate through a relatively large period of the next 2 weeks, but obviously we have some very unsettled weather to get rid of before then. But yeah, a lot of perhaps fine settled weather to come as we go through, particularly towards the latter part of next week and deeper into January as well, but likely to stick with something a little bit colder. It's not really until we start to get high pressure drifting a bit maybe towards the east, and then we maybe drag in a bit more of a southerly wind. Initially, it's going to be a southeasterly wind at this time of year. That's not particularly warm. It's quite chilly. It's not really until it drifts a bit further eastwards and we get a bit more of a southwesterly, which is quite a way away before we get anything like that. So the cold, apart from a slight peak in our temperatures this weekend across southern parts, the cold's really going to stay for a little while longer.
Yeah, I don't mind the cold too much as long as it's sunny. Then I don't really mind it as much.
There will be a decent amount of sunshine actually, if you watch my deep dive on Tuesday, or if you've seen our news release about the 2024 stats, you'll have seen that it was a particularly dull year. Sunshine, there wasn't a huge amount of it in 2024. It was a pretty cloudy year, and so far this year we're not doing too bad sunshine amounts. We are going to see a fair deal of sunshine, I think, as we go through next week and beyond for a little while longer as well.
Yeah, let's enjoy it while we get it. Here we go. We've got a question from Bertie Rayland. Is London going to be too far south? Any sort of snow?
It's yes and no, in as much as I've already briefly showed it, but I'll cover it again just for anyone who wasn't able to see this. But let's just get a couple of things up. I'm going to, again, remove the cloud just to make the snow slightly easier to see. And if I just play through, if we just look at London, for example, and I think as we go through Saturday evening and overnight, if we took this literally, and that's a bit dangerous, but if we took this literally, you can see there is some snow coming across parts of Wales, Midlands, and across parts of the southeast, including London. The thing is, so this could lead to some snow for a time, Saturday evening and overnight. The thing that I've already highlighted is that actually moves through relatively quickly. So there could be some disruption for a time. If you're out late Saturday night for whatever reason, then you could notice it. But because it's quite quickly followed by that warmer air, if I just put on the air mass a second, and you can see this warmer air starting to push its way up from the southwest. This isn't the air mass, this is surface temperatures, but nonetheless it shows the same thing. And you can see that warmer air starting to come in, and because of that warmer air coming in, we see this snow really changing, and so it starts to be rain. And because of that, even if we do get some significant snow or some snow building up over parts such as London, as that rain comes in, it's going to wash away the snow. And so many places kind of south of this line, when you wake up on Sunday morning, any snow will have likely been washed away.
We've also had quite a few questions about freezing rain. Some people calling it ice rain. Obviously that is included in some of the details of the warning. Should we run through that? Yeah,
good one. So yes, freezing rain is going to be a cause for concern, particularly across this kind of slice across the UK. Like you said, it's mentioned in one of the amber warnings, particularly the one across Wales, central into northern parts of England as well. And freezing rain, in case you don't know, well, let's go through it and let's see. Now, I'm going to try and explain it to some extent. Oh no, my graphics have disappeared. What happened? Oh well, I hope if I click on this one, there we go. Fine, I'm using a project from last week, so slightly wrong, but this is the graphic that I wanted to show you. Now this is a tephigram, I'll try and explain that in a second, looking at the forecast profile through the atmosphere. I think it's for somewhere in Wales on Sunday, I'm not entirely sure, I can't remember what time I picked. I think it's in the morning, but that's semi-irrelevant. The thing that it shows you is the profile that you need in order to get freezing rain. Now, if you've not seen a tephigram before, then it's a profile of both the temperature, both the air temperature, and looking at the moisture of the atmosphere as you go up. So, not surprisingly, going up through the atmosphere. Now, this dotted line is the 0 degree isotherm. So this is the temperature at this point, the temperature is 0. It's slanted because, as you probably know, the temperature drops normally as you go up through the atmosphere. So if it wasn't slanted, then all of our profiles would be massively skewed that way, and it would just be really confusing and not particularly helpful. So we slant the isotherms in this direction so that our profiles generally go up when we look at it on a tephigram. But what it's showing here, and if we follow the air downwards, which doesn't quite make sense, but if you think of that as that's the way that the snow is falling, and in this area where it's quite moist because we have our two lines very close together, so to do with humidity and our dry temperature, those lines very close together, so it's very moist, and so this is where we're going to have some thick cloud and some precipitation, and because it's on the colder side, the left side of the 0 degree isotherm, then any precipitation in this area is going to be falling as snow because the temperature is below freezing. However, it then hits something called a warm nose. And what we have is the temperature in this area is actually above freezing. But because I'm getting slightly confused, aren't I? And so in this area, so the rain is, the snow is going to melt, but it's going to become super cooled. And so because it's hit this warm nose, you're going to end up with super cooled I've got slightly confused because I've got distracted, but we have this warm nose, so the snow melts and then it drops down again below freezing just before it reaches the surface. And so the snow melts, here we go, when it gets to the warmer side of the 0 degree isotherm. So then we've got rain, but then it falls below freezing. But because it's falling, it doesn't freeze. So even though the rain has fallen below freezing, it's become super cooled and it's rain, but it's below freezing because it's come this side again of the 0 degree isotherm. That's when we get freezing rain. And so the rain is super cooled, it's below freezing, but it's still rain rather than snow. The problem with this is that as soon as it hits the surface, that's when it freezes suddenly, and that's when you get this severe ice. And when you get freezing rain and you get those difficult driving conditions, you could get black ice in these situations, or perhaps in this instance with some snow mixed in around in the area as well, you could get a sheet of ice on top of the snow or sheet of ice underneath the snow. So in previous years we have had some really difficult conditions where you've had freezing rain, so a layer of ice, and then snow falling on top of that, and then that's made it really difficult. You can't go grit on that, you can't clear it away, and even then when the snow starts to melt or become a little bit slushy, you still have this thick layer of ice underneath. So just to reiterate, you have snow this side falling down, and then the snow melts as it goes to the right hand side of the isotherm because the temperature at this stage in the atmosphere is above freezing, but then because it drops back down below freezing because of the temperature profile as we get closer to the surface, the rain supercools, becomes below freezing but stays as rain until it hits the surface, and then it suddenly freezes, and that's when you get your severe ice. Sorry, I got a bit confused.
No, that was good. It's a hard thing to explain, freezing rain, isn't it? It's also tricky to forecast at times as well, but you did well done. But yeah, even Catherine Hickey's just commented, freezing rain is incredibly dangerous, turns the ground into an ice rink. So yeah, it's incredibly dangerous, particularly, I mean, in general for the public, if you're stepping out, obviously a major slip hazard, and also for aviation services, it's quite an important thing that we tend to forecast too. So yeah, it's not just snow, it's the freezing rain, it's the ice, as we say. That's why there's multiple warnings out and potentially leading to quite a disruptive weekend.
I remember a few years ago when we had some severe freezing rain here in the southwest, we ended up with, I think we started calling it creme brulee snow. So you had fluffy snow, but on top of it you had this layer of ice. And so once you broke through the layer of ice, you got to the fluffy stuff. But it was actually quite painful to walk on because the ice was quite sharp, and I actually cut my ankle. Admittedly, I was out in just I was in Crocs. So I shouldn't.
Did you not forecast the rain and know you needed better footwear?
I just didn't really think. And so, yeah, little sympathy. Shouldn't go out with those type of footwear if you get that kind of snow.
Yeah, no Crocs this weekend, please. Magnus Holdorf said there's 10 inches of snow and it's -5 in southern Sweden, and it's snowing right now. So they've already got the snow there. We'll do
Quite
a couple
bit further
more.
north, aren't they? So.
Yeah. We'll do a couple more questions and then we'll go on to the quiz, because I'm sure you're knackered now talking about the snow. So Kia, I think it's Kian, K1AN14SB. Will it snow in Cornwall? I've checked the Met Office app and it says in Cornwall there's a chance of snow. There's heavy rain in Cornwall on Saturday. Will that turn into snow and hit Cornwall?
So, I mean, you're less likely in Cornwall because of just the location, because you're further towards the southwest with the rain, more likely to be arriving there. But if we just run through, and in the southwest, in Cornwall, we're getting the wet and the windy weather first. So we're going to see the wind strengthening and the rain arriving as we go through tomorrow afternoon. Now, as you can see here, let's zoom in a little bit. It's very sensitive, this, so I'm going to try and not zoom in too much. But as you can see, as it hits the higher ground, so Bodmin Moor, for example, likely to have some sleet and snow pushing its way through. And there could be some snow for a time, but really across much of Cornwall, not a huge amount. It's not out of the question, but it's less likely. Like I said, though, there still is quite a bit of uncertainty as to exactly just quite how far north this whole system is going to be. And the further north it is, the further north the worst of the snow will be. And so if this whole system doesn't push quite so far north and we don't get the warmer air pushing as far north, then we could have some more disruptive snow across more southern, southwestern parts of the UK. So it's definitely not out of the question, but it's most likely to be generally rain away from the moors, the highest ground, really across Cornwall. You don't have to go too far further northeast though. But similar with London, across parts of Devon into Somerset, Wiltshire, etc., whilst the risk increases the further northeast you are, really as we go overnight, quickly we're likely to see that wet weather, the rain pushing its way in, following in behind. So the milder air, the rain, and so even if we do see any snow here in the southwest, overnight Saturday, it's Saturday into Sunday, it's likely to be followed quite quickly by something a bit milder and therefore just rain, which will wash it all away.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've also had a few questions around, so Dan Hall's asking, will there be any thunder snow? Em's going on a trip, also, will there be any hail anywhere? So, away from the kind of rain, sleet and snow,
So I don't think there's a huge amount of risk of thunder along this feature, but I may be wrong, but I don't think there is. Perhaps a slightly greater chance would be the showers that come through across parts of Scotland as we go through Sunday night into Monday. So this is more of a convective setup, and some of them look quite pokey, so I guess it's not out of the question, but it's not something I've been talking about yet, so I don't think that'll be a huge issue. No,
I think we're all good. Do you want to do a quiz?
I always want to do a quiz.
Let's do the quiz. Okay, it's quiz time then. Can you guess the theme of the quiz?
Snow?
Yeah!
Oh.
I tweaked it. I wrote this quiz a few days ago and I was initially going to do some events of 2024, which I have done a little bit, but I made it a little bit more snow themed. Had to be. Had to be, right? Yeah, make sure you send in your answers. We'll get some polls going to see how many of you got it right. Alex is going to send his answers to me directly. And then, what was it you got last week, Alex?
I got 2.
You got 2.
But I almost got 3.
Almost got 3. And also, the week before that, I only got half a point, so I'm not even going to make you feel bad. And I think next time we're on together, you're doing the quiz.
Yeah, so in a fortnight's time, it's roles reversed.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be too cocky about it. Right, let's get going then. So question number 1, here we go. What is the average speed of a snowflake as it falls to the ground? Don't look at me like that. So obviously it depends on the mass and the surface area, also the environmental conditions. But in general, just a snowflake, as most people recognise them, what's the average speed? So is it A, 1.5 miles per hour, B, 5.5 miles per hour, or C, 10.5 miles per hour?
Can you give the answers again, please?
Oh, you don't have to be so confused. It's a wild guess. It's a wild guess. If it helps, I was surprised by the answer.
Okay.
So A, 1.5 miles per hour, B, 5.5, or C, 10.5. There we go. What do you guys reckon in the chat? Alex looks very confused. I think that's one of those ones, if it's just a random met fact you might know, and then if you don't, it's just going to be a guess. But yeah, stick your answers in the chat, and then we'll go through them at the end.
I mean, they're pretty slow, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty light, general as snowflakes go.
And 1.5 is really slow, isn't it?
That is really slow.
Is it too slow?
Don't try and get the answer out of me, Alex. So far, I'll tell you, 56% of people have gone for 5.5, 31% have gone for 1.5, 11% have gone for 10.5. So most people have gone in the middle. That's always a good option, isn't it, when you're not sure? Just pick the middle answer. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, I can see you've sent me an answer. That's good. You sound confident. Let's move on. Maybe that was a harsh one to start with. Maybe this will be a little bit easier. How are you with Scottish words?
Not awful.
Any Scottish in the family?
No, I have no Scottish in my family.
I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, so I do apologise if we have any Scottish people in the audience, but I'll give it a go. So, Flindricken.
Yeah.
Flindricken?
Well done.
Is that right? Is a Scottish word for which type of weather? Is it A, a flake of snow, B, a slight shower of snow, or C, frost? Flindricken. So, a flake of snow, a slight snow.
Can I phone a friend?
Frost.
Can I? I've got a couple of Scottish friends that I should know. Like, maybe we should be starting to put this in our forecasts.
Yeah.
You're doing the Scotland forecast this
I
afternoon.
am.
Are you going to use it?
Well, if I'm saying it right, I'm not sure. Maybe I need to check my pronunciation.
So it's be a slight snow shower.
Yeah, what did I say? I've forgotten. Here we go. Yeah, so A was flake of snow. Yeah, B, a slight snow shower, and C was frost. So yeah, B, slight snow shower. Some people say Martin Baines thinks frost. Paul Payne thinks flake of snow. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, Mimi thinks flake of snow. Pamela Kirkbride thinks frost. Oh, there's quite. Oh, Sarah Dale says she knows this. What is it, Sarah? Okay. Have you sent in your answer? I can see it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Have I put the right option? I can't remember. No, as in
the right answer. You have to wait till the end. Yeah, that is right. Yeah, B. So yeah, you've gone for B.
Yeah, I've gone for B.
Okay, question number 3. Hopefully they're only going to get easier. Which unusual weather phenomenon occurred in the deserts of southwestern US, drawing tourists to see it in the summer of 2024? So what unusual weather phenomenon? Was it A, flurries of snow, B, dense fog, or C, a flower bloom event? Were you in that neck of the woods in summer 2024?
Did you say in America?
Yeah, southwestern US, in the desert.
No, I wasn't.
You weren't?
No,
Neither was I.
No.
Was anyone else?
This quiz is about snow.
Yeah.
So A, because otherwise it's.
Or did I do it to throw you off? I had 2 quizzes and I've merged them together. So
okay.
Some are snowy, some not so snowy.
I'm going to go with A.
Let's see what other people are thinking. One Generation Media thinks C, so that was the flower bloom event. Thomas thinks fog. Nigel Healy thinks a bloom. Al Brooking thinks snow. Maybe it was a trick question.
Would people want to go watch fog?
You wouldn't see much.
Just close your eyes and you get the same experience.
Okay, all right, we got lots of mixed answers there. So, a few people saying A, a few people saying B. Quite a few people have gone for snow. Okay, let's move on. Question number 4. Also, once again, apologies because I'm sure I'm going to pronounce some of these wrong. What is the word for the fear of snow? Do you know this one? So we've got A, glaciophobia, B, cryophobia, or C, I think I did write down how to pronounce this, chionophobia? Chionophobia. I think that's how you say it. So what is the word for the fear of snow? A, glaciophobia, B, cryophobia, or C, chionophobia? It's definitely something phobia.
Let us know in the comments if you suffer from this, though you probably weren't watching this video because we're talking a lot about snow.
Fear of snow, yeah.
I don't know if I spelled that right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Probably not from my pronunciation. Let's see what other people are saying. Snowphobia.
Yeah.
That would be a lot better, wouldn't it?
It would be
much easier to pronounce, for sure. Apparently you don't look very happy with these questions, Alex.
I'm not. But
yeah,
it's
maybe
fine.
now I'm looking back, maybe it was a little bit tricky.
2 weeks time. It's been a long week, and
It has.
2 weeks time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to regret this quite a lot. Okay, final question. I have a feeling you're going to get this one.
Good.
And it's very exciting. It's a picture round. I say a picture round, there's just one picture. So if we can get Rich to get up the picture, please, if that's still working. So this rare space weather phenomenon, which looks similar to the aurora and appears as a ribbon of colourful light, it dazzled the UK skies in early October. But what is its name? Is it A?
I know this one.
Already.
I know this one without the option. I don't know what letter we're going for, but so I'll wait for that. But
so we've gone A, Simon, B, Steve.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Or C, Samuel. Who is it? Who's up there? We could see it in the skies early October here in the UK, but it's quite rare, and there's not loads of photographs of it either, which made the picture round a little bit trickier too. So what do you guys think? Is it Simon, Steve, or Samuel? Let's have a look. Martin Baines thinks Steve. Nigel Healy says Steve. Retro Macintosh also says Steve.
Yeah, I think Steve's going to be quite popular with that one.
Stuart David, Steve-tastic. Steve, oh yeah, seems quite popular, the Steve answer. So whack your answer in the chat, put it in the poll. Let's see how many of you got that one right. There we go, that was the last question. Was it so bad? They got easier, maybe?
I think I've got at least one.
Okay.
So there we go, still better than your half.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Right, shall we run through the answers?
Let's go for it.
Okay, let's go. So, average speed of a snowflake. So we had 1.5 miles per hour, 5.5 or 10.5. What did you say? Let me have a look. You went for 1.5, but this answer says edited. You can't change your answers, Alex, once they're submitted.
A lot of my answers say edited because I make typos.
Okay.
I did change that one after I submitted it because I taught myself because of your reaction.
Oh no, that's not fair. Oh, I'll let you have it. But yes, that was correct. You were right to change it.
And last week when I changed it to wrong. So there we go.
Yes.
That's even.
Yes, the average speed of a snowflake is 1.5.
So that's pretty slow.
Yeah, but apparently it says most snow falls at a speed between 1 to 4 miles per hour, but obviously it depends on the snowflake, the mass and the surface area. But then snowflakes, as most people recognise them, typical kind of snowflake is about 1.5, but the snowflakes that collect super cooled water as they fall, they actually fall up to 9 miles per hour. So you can get some pretty shifty snowflakes, apparently. Yeah.
Do you mean like rapid? No, shifty, like looking like, oh, I don't trust this snowflake.
Don't trust those ones that are going at 9 miles per hour. Okay, so well done. You got that one right. Here we go.
There we go.
So number 2, this was Flindricken. I didn't see any comments that said I pronounced it incorrectly, so hopefully it was okay. So it's a Scottish word for which type of weather? Was it a flake of snow, a slight snow shower, or frost? You went for slight snow shower, and that is correct.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Apparently, there are more than 400 words for snow in Scotland. Flindrican is slight snow shower. We've also got sneasel and skelf, which also means snow. There you go.
Brilliant.
Now you know.
You're
for next
basically
week's quiz.
fluent.
Oh, basically, yeah, when it comes to snow. Cool, well done. So you got that one right as well. So next question. Which unusual weather phenomenon occurred in the deserts of southwestern US, drawing tourists to see it in 2024? I was a bit mean with this one.
Oh, so it was a trick.
Because I said it was snow themed, but I just really liked this question, so I did it anyway. So flurries of snow, dense fog, or a flower bloom event. It was a flower bloom event. There was no snow in the deserts of US. I feel like if there was, we might have remembered that. And it wasn't fog either. So sorry, that one was cruel. That one was cruel. It was a trick question. I do apologise. But you're still doing well. 2 out of 3. So the next one then, what was the word for the fear of snow? So the options were glaciophobia, cryophobia, or chionophobia. I think that's how you pronounce them. What did you go for? Oh, you went for chionophobia.
Just to get you to say it again.
Yeah. I'm probably saying it completely wrong. I do apologise if so. So answer C was the correct answer. Chionophobia, originating from the Greek chion, meaning snow, and phobos for the word fear.
Wait,
Fear
so I
of
got that
snow.
right?
Got it right, yeah.
Oh,
I think
wow.
so. I'm not sure with your spelling. It's not correct, but I'm pretty sure that was the answer. You said C, so yeah, that one was right. Okay, so so 3. You got 3 out of 4. You done pretty well. Pretty well. So the last question, that was our picture. The rare space weather phenomenon, which we saw in the UK in early October, but what was its name? So our options were Simon, Steve and Samuel. Lots of people saying Steve. And of course it was Steve. So that was B. So Steve stands for, do you know this?
Yeah, strong thermal, emission velocity enhancement.
Yes. Now that should have been the question.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, I did a deep dive about this, probably about when that happened, and we had a Steve.
That's why I asked you,
interestingly,
I
it gets
didn't
its name backwards, in as much as it got the name Steve, and then they found the words to fill in the to make the acronym after they'd already decided on Steve, and they got Steve, I think, from, I can't remember exactly the name of the film, Over the Hedge. A kid's film where like some characters confused. I think I've not seen it, but I think they don't know what a light in the sky is, the sun or something.
Oh, it's It
might not be the sun. I've not seen the film.
I think it's the bush, isn't it? Oh no, the hedge.
The hedge.
Isn't it the hedge? And then they're scared of it, so they call it Steve.
Yeah, it could be. And so then, and it's a similar idea. So then that name was adopted for this.
Because they didn't know what it was, so they called it Steve.
They called it Steve, and then they mashed together some words to get Steve.
I love that. That's so much more interesting than just someone called Steve who found
just someone called Steve. Yeah, no, it wasn't just some narcissist called Steve. I'm like, that's fine, just call it my name.
Yeah. I would have called it Honor. Yeah. Okay, amazing. So you got 4 out of 5.
Woohoo, that's my best yet.
Well done. How many did you guys get right? Let's see. Did anyone get 5 out of 5? Did anyone beat Alex? But you did better than last week. So
I did better than last week.
So it wasn't too hard.
No, because none of them were guesses.
Yeah. You did well. Lucky guesses, lucky guesses.
Cool. Well done if you did even better. To be honest, well done if you even got 1 or 2 out of 5 there. That was a good quiz. Thank you so much.
Yeah, someone did get 5 out of 5. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Karithaja got 5 out of 5. Gamer TV got 3 out of 5. Hi Banwell got 4 out of 5. So most of you did pretty well, to be fair. Nigel Helio got 4 out of 5. Got the snowphobia wrong. That's the one you got wrong. Oh no, you got that one right. Which one did you get wrong? The flurry of snow one. Yeah.
Cool. Now before we go, I just wanted to go back to the screen to cover a couple of more things, because obviously the quiz was a lot of fun, but there is some disruptive weather to be had as we go through this week. So I just wanted to highlight that again for the benefit of people who have either tuned in or just in case you have missed some. Before I get on to that though, we do have an interesting sight to behold tonight. It probably won't be a Steve, but we are likely to see the quadrantid meteor shower. I hope I've pronounced that right. And so, but just have a little look at what we can expect This is at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've got cloud cover on at the moment, and you can see across many parts of Scotland, down the eastern side of the UK, there will be some clear skies, and actually a lot of this cloud across central southern parts of the UK, it's going to be quite high level cloud, so you may be able to see through it at times. But so not terrible conditions. In fact, if we go a little bit earlier on in the night, it's slightly clearer skies for many places. Remember, the clearer skies, that's because of those, we're going to see temperatures dropping, a cold, frosty night. For many of us, icy patches, some fog, some freezing fog. But with that, a reasonable chance, particularly towards the northeast of the UK, of being able to see the meteor shower. So that's quite exciting. But I wanted to just recap on the severe weather that we do have coming this week. So if I just run this through, and whilst tomorrow, Saturday, is going to get off to, well, apart from some wintry showers, a generally fine, at times bright start for many places, we have some wet and windy weather coming in from the southwest. As this hits the cold air that we have across the UK, we're readily going to see some sleet or snow developing, particularly on the northern edge of it, with something a bit milder coming in behind from the southwest, so then more rain following in behind across southern parts. But yes, into particularly central and then later northern parts of England and Wales, we are going to see some disruptive snow. There's still a little bit of uncertainty as to exactly this boundary, as to where we see snow and where we see rain, and how far north the snow goes. Could push into southern parts of Scotland, but nonetheless we need to be aware that there could be some significant impacts. With that in mind, then, we do have a number of warnings out. And so just to show you them here, if I've darted a little bit too far ahead, but if we go back, we have a snow and ice warning covering the bulk of England and Wales, valid from midday on Saturday until midnight Sunday night. We have an amber snow and ice warning across many parts of Wales into central England, and that talks of the risk of freezing rain, as well as the risk of, well, 20 to 30 centimetres of snow over higher ground, and some significant accumulations even to lower levels, and that's valid from 6 p.m. on Saturday until midday on Sunday, I believe. And then another amber snow warning for more northern parts of England, and this talks of the potential of up to 40 centimetres over the higher ground, and this is valid slightly later from 9 p.m. Saturday all the way until midnight Sunday night. And then on top of that, we have another snow and ice warning across parts of Scotland, and that's to cover for some wintry weather that's going to return in from the east, some sleet and snow showers with sub-zero temperatures, leading to some difficult conditions as we go through the latter part of Sunday and into Monday. So some really difficult conditions out there, lots of people travelling. Do stay up to date with the warnings, particularly if you are planning to head out on the roads. Allow extra time for your journey, maybe change the time of your journey if you can, to avoid the most severe weather.
Yes, well said, and thanks for the recap. Hi Banwell says thanks for the recap as well. Yeah, obviously lots of warnings out this weekend, likely to be unsettled, as Alex has said, many people travelling around this weekend, so do stay up to date on our app and on our website, as we can sometimes see tweaks made to these warnings as well as we get more information also. But I think we'll call it a day there. Obviously we will keep you updated across our social media channels too, around our warnings, around the weather and any updates we may see. And yeah, of course, stay safe if you are heading out this weekend. And yeah, we'll keep you updated. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all your questions. Hope you enjoyed the weather information and also the quiz. And I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy New Year. Have a lovely weekend. I hope you're able to stay safe in the weather that we have coming ahead. It'll be Aidan and Alex doing the Weather Studio Live next week. We'll be back in a fortnight.
Bye.